8 years in Alaska have shaped me in ways I never imagined. Living and working in a land so vast and so untamed has a way of reshaping you. Acknowledging the smallness within you and replacing it with something wild and expansive. In Alaska, I've stood face to face with grizzlies and moose, kayaked alongside humpback whales, and walked across rivers of ice. These experiences aren't just memories, they're markers of a transformation. Each moment taught me to step closer to the edge of my fear and closer to the edge of myself. The wildness of Alaska doesn't just surround you, it becomes a part of you. And in that wildness, I've found a version of myself that is bigger and freer than I could have been. This is the landscape that raised me. Alaska took me in as a kid and shaped me into a woman. These mountains, rivers, and glaciers, these animals and plants, they're my teachers. They demanded resilience and presence, showed me the beauty of solitude, and gave me a space to discover who I am outside of anyone else's expectations, even my own. In 2022, I spent my first summer away from Alaska in 6 years. It was only then that I realized how deeply this place is stitched into my sense of self. Who I am, who I'm allowed to be. It all feels so intertwined with Alaska. Without it, I feel a little lost. Alaska feels like it holds me. Maybe it's because this landscape taught me the balance between strength and surrender. On some days, Alaska feels gentle, wrapping me in its quiet beauty. On others, it feels relentless and brutal. This relationship between me and Alaska has changed over the years. When I first arrived, I was afraid of the cold, of the isolation, of the rawness that seemed to demand so much of me. But over time, I've grown less fearful and more reverent. I see how fragile I am, how fragile we all are against the immensity of this place. And yet, it's that fragility that makes Alaska feel sacred. We need the tonic of wilderness. Alaska has been that tonic for me, a constant reminder that life doesn't need to be tamed to be meaningful. The beauty isn't always soft, and growth doesn't come without discomfort. Alaska has taught me to exist in paradox, to be small in a big world, to be fragile yet deeply alive, and to hold on to gratitude, even in the face of harshness. It's not an easy place to live, but it's a place that makes me feel truly alive. It's where I became the person that I am. Kind of blueberries than they have in the interior. I think that these are maybe like high bush and the ones in the interior are low bush, but these are really good in baked goods. I think the low bush ones are going to be better as like jellies or jams and syrups. So the big thing is I've collected a lot of berries and I don't like to collect more than I use. So I'm going to have a lot of canning and jam making in my future. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. When I see the girlies on YouTube wearing pilgrim dresses and like churning butter and cooking over their fires outside and acting like they're basically in the 1800s, I can't really handle it. I get that I am the problem. But that being said, when I see those girls in pilgrim dresses, I know that they were never close to wearing a pilgrim dress, and that's why it's an aesthetic for them. All of that aside, Alaska has really turned me into a little homemaking girly. Look at me here. I'm basically homesteading, making blueberry muffins out of the box, but with my own homemade blueberries that I picked. And in all seriousness, it's really been a journey for me the last few years to learn how to make jams and jellies out of flowers and berries. And Alaska has sort of been a place where I've practiced this little journey on my own. All of these things have kind of become a staple part of my summer every year. And it's also a way that I mark the passage of time. I don't usually do voiceovers like this. Usually they're scripted. I love to write, so I just read out what I'm writing. But howdy, this is me.